Speaking of all things beautiful, Jason Nash is with us, the creative director from Douglas J. Salons. How are you, sir?
Great. Good morning.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for being available. We've been talking a lot about the candidates. They're running for governor, as we're only just about 11 days now away from the primary. And we talk a lot about their opinions and their positions and that sort of thing. But they all appear on television. They all have been in debates. They go knocking on doors even, and they are very visible. So I thought maybe from your perspective, we could go candidate by candidate.
Perfect.
And as if they were to walk into Douglas J. and ask you, what about my look? Is that all right?
That's perfect.
Because it's important, right?
Yes, sir. Shaking hands and kissing babies.
Right. And everybody knows that maybe the reason John F. Kennedy was elected president is because Richard Nixon, in the very first ever televised debate, was perceived to have a 5 o'clock shadow and was kind of sweaty because of the lights. And so the people that listened to the debate on radio thought Nixon won, and the people that watched on TV thought that Kennedy won because they didn't like Nixon. Therein was the beginning, I think, of the show business aspect of running for office. Fair to say?
Very fair. And I think, society wants to view these candidates as somebody they can relate to and also somebody that keeps up with their image as well, because it's an image-based, career.
Are they overall too conservative to begin with? There was a time when everybody wore a red tie. Then everybody wore a blue tie. And everybody almost sort of had the same style.
Yeah, and I think it's almost a political starter kit. You get a 4-inch black comb, and you get that part when you're running.
Yeah.
So I think softening it up and making it more appealing, and I think you can't beat it.
Probably true to say Sarah Palin's the first one to break the mold, right? I mean, she's the one that's probably the most out there.
Correct.
That's Nicky Hale, our world correspondent, who is thinking back to the days of, let's see, Winston Churchill. He was a dashing-looking fellow. And Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady, she was, you had some gorgeous leaders, didn't you?
I don't think until we reach Tony Blair do we have somebody more appealing. I've got to be honest. David Cameron, what a step forward for the Brits, huh?
Let's go candidate by candidate. We'll start with Rick Snyder. The one tough nerd is what he billed himself, the Ann Arbor businessman. and he has eschewed the tie for the most part and shown up in open collar. What do you think?
I think it is appealing. I think it's a little softer. I think he's a venture capitalist, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I think he could use a little bit more product in his hair. I think that would help soften it up. Not so much gel, more wax, and maybe a little shorter on the sides.
He's the only one with white or gray hair, I guess you would say.
Exactly.
He's decided not to color it, apparently.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's distinguished. It's a little George Clooney of him.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So every time I get my hair done, I ask, should I get some color in here? I'm only 43 years old, and look at it. There's color in there now, so you can't see it, but everybody says, and I don't know, Nikki probably told me the same thing, do not color your hair. It's distinguished.
It is. For a man, it is. For women, it's a different story, but for a man, it is. Salt and pepper look is good. I like it.
Yeah. What about this goatee I've been growing lately? I notice you have that 5 o'clock shadow sort of look.
I think it softens my baby face up.
None of these candidates have facial hair.
No, and I think it would be a good idea. I mean, I think like Verge Bonero, he's a pretty boy. He's really soft face. I think if he had a little shadow and a little scruff, I think it might be appealing. And a lot of the people voting are women, and I think they want an attractive man as well.
It's funny, there used to be studies that say that people who wear facial hair are not trusted as much as people who are clean-shaven. So I never had any, but I started fooling around with it lately, and I get good response.
Yeah.
Does it thin out your face? Is that what it is?
It will elongate it, and I think it's a little bit of ruggedness to it. I think that's good.
Ruggedness. What do you? That's. I guess.
Yeah, and it's funny because my husband went the opposite way of you. He's just recently shaved it all off.
And what do you think?
No.
You want the facial hair back?
But it's his face, and he can do whatever he wants with it. But
under a certain length, we're not going Grizzly Adams here.
Yeah,
We're just keeping it,
right.
maintained.
Texture.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, now let's see. That's interesting. We'll look at. I think the tallest candidate, I think it's a tie between Andy Dillon and Mike Bouchard. Those are a couple of tall guys. Mike Bouchard, I would venture to say, is the most dashing of the 7 candidates, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree. I think I think he's an attractive man, if I could say that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of his hair, when looking at his hair, he could use, I like something a little bit more pulled forward for him.
Yeah.
Not so off of his face. It kind of gets a little Bob Saget, where it's kind of, in his appearance, and that's not a bad thing, but to relate to him as an individual, a little bit more personality in his hair, maybe bringing it forward, maybe wearing it up in the front.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be appealing.
Maybe some of these candidates have pulled some of their hair out.
Yeah,
the ones that have been in office a long time.
Who knows how many actually have plugs?
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, I hadn't thought about that. The Attorney General, Mike Cox, is 49 years old. He's in a very serious position as the state's Attorney General. You can't really fool around too much with your hair because you have to be considered serious, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're an artistic person, obviously, because you're in an artistic business. You're expected, aren't you? I mean, your hair has to look good.
Yeah, and I think image is our business.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Mike Cox, he's an ex-Marine, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And who's going to tell him how to wear his hair?
Yeah, that's true. Nobody tells Donald Trump either.
No, well.
And he gets away with that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I guess if you were looking at all 7 of the candidates, and I know that you have, which one looks the best? If you were going purely on a beauty contest.
I think Mike Cox fits his image.
You do.
I think it's not parted. It's not as militant as it probably was.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's all around, looks physically fit. I think he looks good.
All right. Well, there you have it. If it's a beauty contest, believe it or not, Mike Cox, who's he's a pretty tough guy himself too, is the leader in the clubhouse, according to Jason Nash, the creative director at Douglas J. You have a very special event coming up at Walnut Hills on Monday. It's the 9th annual Douglas J. golf outing for juvenile diabetes research. It's a day-long event starting at 10 in the morning and a shotgun start at 11. You're going to do the helicopter ball drop at 7 o'clock.
We are. That's going to be a great event. We encourage everybody to log on to douglasj.com and look in ways in which they can help donate to JDRF. It's near and dear to our hearts, as is the community and giving back. So helicopters and golf balls, Walnut Hills, and
you can buy a ball for $50, and the closest to the hole when they bomb these golf balls on the green is going to win $5,000.
Correct.
Pretty good odds.
Yeah.
When you consider, too, that it's for charity.
Yeah, and what a great way to come out, have dinner at Copper, wander around the golf course, and wait for the helicopter. We've got the Sprague brothers.
That's my favorite part. A
playing-
pool party with a band.
Yes.
At 8 o'clock at night as the sun's going down.
You can't beat
That's
it.
pure Michigan right
But
there.
I encourage everybody to log on to our website, douglasj.com, and learn more about your charity. And it's something that's near and dear to our hearts, is giving back to the community.
DouglasJ.com. The event is Monday, so you still have time to get involved in any portion of it, even if you don't play golf. I'm nuts about Copper. This is the restaurant in Walnut Hills that is now open to the public. You can sit outside with a beautiful view, and the food, I think, it's a very stylish place, and the food's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think I've seen you out there a few times.
Yeah, don't tell me to stop right there. Don't say who I was with, what I was doing, what I was drinking, and how I was behaving.
Or your golf game.
Thank you very much.